foremost, boxing. Just giving you my reaction to the fight last night with Canelo and Berlanga. I feel like Berlanga did surprise a lot of people, and a lot of people weren't giving him the chance to be competitive, and a lot of people were expecting him to get knocked out or get knocked out early in the third round. But I truly believe that boxing is a business, and when it comes to Canelo, he promotes his cards under his company. He gets 80% of the profits, and I truly believe that there was a contract that he had to agree to, Berlanga, in order to get the fight with Canelo. He had to, go under the circumstances of what they wanted him to do in the fight, make it look competitive and get a certain amount of money. But you can't do whatever you want. You have to make sure that you make it look entertaining for the mass, for the people that are watching. But you can't beat Canelo. You gotta just make it look like it's competitive, and you have to let Canelo have his way. And I feel like the knockdown was real. When Berlanga went down, he got up. He was upset, whatever. He wasn't hurt, but I truly feel that that's part of the game. You go down, but you get up, and it's how you react when you get up. But at the same time, it's like he was doing a lot of talking back and forth with Canelo. They were going low, hitting each other low, and cursing at each other. But I feel like while you're doing that, you should actually take advantage of that moment. Instead of talking, hit him. Because there was plenty of times that Berlanga had opportunities to really, capitalize on tagging Canelo. Canelo was getting tired. Canelo, after the sixth round, like I said, he always gets tired. He was huffing and puffing. He was like, man, I wanna eat my tacos when I get home. I just want to go home and watch TV. It's he gets tired after the seventh round. I'm not taking nothing away from Canelo. I just feel that Canelo is the franchise. So in order to beat Canelo, you have to have money. You have to be the money guy. And in this case, Berlanga's an up-and-coming contender, and he made a good showing of himself, but you could tell he was holding back. You could tell that he wasn't giving it his all, because there were so many times that he could have went to the body. He could have really capitalized on Canelo being right there, because Canelo's not a great mover. He doesn't have a lot of footwork. Canelo was hitting him to the body, yes, and Berlanga had his moments. He didn't hurt Berlanga. I don't think that at any point of the fight that Berlanga was hurt. I don't believe that. I feel like he got up. It was a flash knockdown. He was more embarrassed and upset that he went down. But I truly believe that Berlanga could have did more, but he intentionally held back because the contract he signed. When it comes to boxing, it's a monopoly. It's a business. The franchise boxer is the one that they want to win. So they actually made a deal. You're gonna get the Canelo fight, but under these circumstances, under what the contract says. So you have to abide by the rules of the contract. He can't break the contract. So if he's fighting Canelo and he agreed to something in the contract, they probably told him, you have to make it look competitive, but do not try to knock out Canelo. Just make it seem like you could. Make it seem like he's not, even though he went down, that was real. But as far as the whole fight itself, that's you could tell that he was holding back. It wasn't really a pure energy of his full potential, being Berlanga's full potential. It was more let me hold back a little bit. Let me just talk crap. Oh God, what wrong? I'm not gonna try to hit him. I'm just gonna make it look like a wrestling show and make it seem like, I went the distance with you. You couldn't knock me out. Okay, that's true, because they probably knew beforehand that Berlanga, he's strong. Boricuas are naturally, we're gifted with, and Mexicans as well. We have power, natural born power. But I feel like his natural ability, corporations, people, financial interests, they're going to go with the franchise fighter, and they're going to make sure that they, subjugate certain aspects of the natural abilities and make it more about money. We want Canelo to look good. We want the Mexicans to catch up with the Puerto Ricans being ahead in the Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry. And it's like they just, it's all corporations and financial interests, and they want to make sure and ascertain that, the franchise fighter, which Canelo promotes his fights under his own banner, his own company, so he gets most of the profits. So he's gonna pick and choose under the circumstances that he wants, because he's at that level where he can pick and choose exactly what he wants. So you don't think for a second that it was planned out that way because it benefits Canelo. He's the elite, established franchise fighter that is the moneymaker. So it gives Berlanga like his stock rises, but it just made him look like, okay, let's make him look decent and competitive with Canelo, so that way people can respect him, and then he can move on and start his career, and Canelo can end it the way he wants. Because let's be real, boxing is a business, and Canelo owns his boxing promotion. He promoted his boxing show and his fights under his promotional banner. So you're not gonna tell me there's no politics and there's nothing like, sinister behind the scenes. Of course, he's gonna dictate. He's gonna dictate whatever's convenient for him, Canelo. So yes, I feel like the Berlanga showed that he has true grit, but he also showed that he'll sell out for the dollar. That's what most people do. A lot of people they when it comes to boxing, it's not like pure energy, pure skill. It's not like back in the days in the 90s. Everything was more authentic. It was less business, more natural ability, and just, based on what you can do and what the other guy can do. But right now, they try to control the outcome of it in a way where it looks competitive enough where the people feel like, oh, he made a good account of himself, but let's just make it look really competitive, and then they sign a deal or they make an agreement behind the scenes, and then they have to abide by certain criterias with the people behind promotion and the business aspect of it. They have to abide by certain rules, and okay, if you're gonna fight Canelo, he's the franchise fighter. You have to make sure that you don't try to win completely. You just make it seem like you're gonna win, but you have to hold back in certain situations. Like, yeah, the knockdown was real, but as far as like the opportunities that Berlanga had to actually hurt Canelo, he had plenty. He had plenty. And if you're not hurting me, I'm gonna destroy you. I'm gonna run through you like a train. I don't think Canelo hurt Berlanga in any way in the fight. It was a flash knockdown. I just feel like it was a show. It was just an entertainment, pure boxing entertainment, and it was subjugated. It was controlled in some way because, like, when you do a contract, you sign certain things. There's certain rules that you gotta abide by, especially when it comes to business. So they're gonna do whatever they can to keep the business more beneficial for the upside. Like, Canelo's a franchise boxer. He's a franchise fighter. So he controls the narrative. He is the one that actually could control how the outcome could go based on the money that he presents, and he can have influence on it because that's his promotional banner. He can have more influence, and he can have a say contractually where it economically benefits him. So that's why he's gonna pick and choose whoever's best for him. That's why he chooses to say, "Oh, if Benavidez wants to fight me, they have to give me $200 million," because he don't want to lose to Benavidez under his own promotional banner. So if he's gonna accept the fight with Benavidez, they gotta pay him enough to lose. It might be that, or because why is it that it's a problem for him to fight Benavidez, but it's not a problem for him to fight, Berlanga? Because he has control over the situation and the deals, the contract, how the fight has to play out if he's gonna take it. And I feel like there was too much respect at the end. I feel like, okay, you respect the fighter, but you don't say sorry for what you said before the fight. When you go into a fight, you mean what you say, because you're going in a fight and you're gonna go for battle. You're gonna prepare for battle. Like, you don't back out and eat your words after the fight, like giving Canelo too much praise, like respecting him to a point where you're kissing his butt. Like, that's what it seems like. Like, everybody has to kiss Canelo's butt after the fight. I'm not saying do not respect the fighter that you fought after the fight. I'm just saying that there's too much praising. It's like a narcissist Canelo. Like, he wants everybody to praise him and give him all this, like, yes, he's a good fighter, but he's not great. He's not great. He's good because of the way the promotional aspect is nowadays. Everything is more promotional. It's more like a promotional angle to it. They sell you a certain way. But back in the days, in the 90s and the 80s, it was like you were who you were, and it wasn't too much of a promotional angle. It was really the ability of the fighter, and you got to see the authenticity of both fighters imposing their will and skill, and whoever dominated their strength the most was the one that prevailed. There's always politics, but there's more politics now because boxing has become like a show, like a spectacle. It's not genuine completely the way it used to be. When you get to the top level, it's control. There's a mafia. It's a monopoly. Wherever there's money, there's always a monopoly. And I feel like now fighters could do certain things where they couldn't do it before because they got more influence. Like Canelo has his own boxing team. When did you see that in the 80s and 90s? I feel like there's a lot of things where money talks, bullshit walks. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I don't want to curse, but it is what it is. That's what it's about when it comes to business. Money talks. It's a business. And I just wish that boxing was more fair and not so much business, but more sport. Boxing is more of a business than a sport. And I feel that Berlanga, I'm proud of Berlanga. And if I was in that predicament, I don't know what I would do. I'm saying like I'm not in that predicament that he's in. So he chose whatever he chose based on he's thinking about his family and his kids. But at the same time, not all money is good money. I feel like if you sell your principles and you don't put your principles before money, then you sell out. You sell your own mother. You will sell your own mother for money if you could do that. If you could do stuff like that, you would sell your own mother for money. But I feel like I love the sport, but it's a love and hate. It's a love and hate. With me in boxing, it's a love and hate. But, this is the way boxing is now. You got to just, take it as it is right now. It's like sometimes I feel like sometimes I don't want to watch boxing because of the corruption, but I love it and I hate it. So it's like nothing's perfect in life. You're always gonna love and hate something because nothing's perfect. But you gotta take the good with the bad, and I feel like it's Berlanga's career. He has a good career ahead of himself. But if he's the money fighter, and when he gets to the top tier, like where Canelo is, he's gonna have the same financial influence that Canelo had and Mayweather had. They choose the conditions on how they do it and where it benefits them. Mayweather chose to stay in Vegas. That was his way of controlling his money and the influence on the judges, because most of the fights that he had was in Las Vegas, and that was his way of monopolizing on it and making sure that they don't rob a fight from him because he lives in Vegas. It's like there's a certain relationships, you have certain relationships, you pay certain people. Money talks, man. Boxing is not all pure the way it's supposed to be, like pure ability, pure talent. And the Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry it's a beautiful rivalry, but it's lost its authenticity. Because I know Berlanga's from Brooklyn and he's Boricua. You can't take away his Boricua card because he loves Puerto Rico and he did what he wanted to do, but at the same time, it just seems like it was contrived. It was planned out for him to look good and surprise people and surpass people's expectations. People thought he was gonna get knocked out. So that was like a moral victory for him. So he said he's sad about the outcome, but you can see that he's happy because he made his money and he made a good showing of himself because they made it look competitive enough where Canelo was beating him, but he wasn't dominating him in a way where he was pulverizing Berlanga, because he wasn't hurting Berlanga like that. And if me in real life, if I'm fighting somebody, I'm bigger than him, and the guy's not hurting me with anything with his shots, I'm gonna risk more and go inside and go for the kill, and because I'm not feeling anything, I'm not feeling the power the way, because Canelo doesn't knock people out no more. You notice that, and his stamina was bad in the 7th round. And Berlanga had stamina. His stamina was good, but he wasted his stamina on screaming, saying, "Carajo!" cabrón, like, okay, you could say all that, but you're wasting all that energy. You could actually hit him when you're saying that. And I feel like he could have did it. He was right there in front of him. Like, why are you going to waste time on showboating and, machismo when you could use your punches to be the action that you take, not your mouth. You don't take, I just feel like it was a lot of it was pro wrestling antics, but I feel like boxing is what it is, and it's a business. I feel like when it gets to the top level, you know, it's just money, man. It's just a lot of, a lot of people get involved. There's a lot of politics behind the scenes with the judges. But I feel like, yeah, Canelo won the fight, but you could tell that Berlanga wasn't giving it his all on purpose. Like, he was holding back intentionally. Because, like, come on, man, you got the guy in front of you, and you're gonna talk instead of throwing combination. I just feel like it's pretentious. It's so obvious that it was rigged. But I'm not saying that because the guy that I was rooting for lost. I'm just saying it because it just looks so obvious and blatant that Canelo is basically picking and choosing the conditions on who he fights. That's why he don't fight Benavidez, because he knows that if he fights Benavidez, he's gonna take an L. And Benavidez probably can't get the fight because he's not willing to sell out. He's not willing to put down his principles. He's gonna keep his principles. Like, no, if I'm fighting you, Canelo, it's to beat you. It's to dethrone you and take over. So that's probably why Canelo's saying you gotta give me $200 million to fight you. Because even if he offers the $200 million, it's gonna come with a stipulation. Like, you have to do this. You can't try to beat me. You gotta take the fall. Make it look competitive, but make it seem like I won. Make it seem like I won enough rounds to beat you. And there's stipulations that he'll do. So then maybe that's the reason why Canelo's not giving giving Benavidez the fight, because he feels like he wants to control and dictate the stipulations and what you do and what you don't do on the contract. So Canelo has the upper hand all the time. And if he does say, okay, like he said, Canelo said, you got to give me $200 million to fight Berlanga because he's big to fight Benavidez. You got to give me $200 million to fight Benavidez. Okay. But if he's saying that with, okay, it could be that, okay, for me to lose, you got to pay me $200 million. $200 million. Or it could be, you have to pay me $200 million, but there's a stipulation on the contract that you can't really try to win the fight, make it look competitive. Like, it could be a lot of different variations, but it could be also saying, give me $200 million because I want you, that's the only way I'm going to lose, is if you pay me $200 million. That's the only way I'm going to lose. So it's like different, situations. And if you look at it, Berlanga's, he was popular coming up. He's a contender. He became a contender last night. But I feel like he don't have the accolades. So Canelo gave him the opportunity. And he did a lot better than what people expected, considering that Canelo has all these accolades. But like I said, Canelo's only good for today's standards as far as considered to be one of the greats. He's not considered one of the greatest. He's one of the best, but in today's standards is more based on promotion and how they promoted him and the fighters that he fought. They made it, he chose the fights that, even the close fights, they gave it to Canelo. He didn't look dominant with the Golovkin, only in his third fight when he was already declining, the old Golovkin. But if you look at it, Daniel Jacobs is a good fighter that Canelo beat, but he wasn't like, oh my gosh, like he still looked like he could have went either way that fight. And the fights that where he wins in a competitive fight is always close. It's never like he's dominant. So it's like he's good in today's standards. He's considered the greatest for today's standards. But if you're a boxing purist and you know boxing, they're giving him too much credit, and too many accolades. But if you compare his accolades to Berlanga, it's like apples and oranges. You can't even compare it. Like, Berlanga has never been anywhere near what Canelo accomplished. But I knew Canelo wasn't as great as everybody was saying, so that's why I gave Berlanga a chance to be competitive and possibly win based on the natural attributes. But they're not going by natural attributes now. They're going by money attributes, monopoly, whatever makes money for business. They take the authenticity out of everything. We're going through lack of authenticity with everything nowadays. Even with the AI, everything is like not, you know, real information or real authenticity. Is artificial intelligence, artificial authenticity. That's how everything's being promoted now. It's all for the financial capital and the wallet. But that's the way boxing is, you know. Boxing is a business. But I feel like Berlanga, you know, is good for his career, but this is how they do it. They say, okay, let him take a loss, and then he could build his career. Now he got some clout. Now he made a good account of himself. Now he could continue his career. But they're not gonna let a fighter like Berlanga beat a fighter like Canelo. That's a franchise, and he got control of the business part. See, if Canelo would have not had control of the promotional boxing event like he has now, Canelo promotion, he probably would have lost. They probably would have let Berlanga win that fight because Berlanga has a lot of support behind him, a lot of money behind him too as a prospect, becoming contender and the Puerto Rican people. So a lot of it has to do with how much control do you have of your career. Like Mayweather had control of his career. He could pick and choose when he fights Cotto, when he fights the fighters that he fights. You know, he didn't have to fight Golovkin. He didn't have to fight people like that. But you know, that's another weight that he had to go to. But he stayed at 147. And he controlled the situation. He dictated it. He stayed in Las Vegas. You know, Canelo, if he would have been under a promotion that you don't have full control of, the promoters would control who wins based on how much money they can make, and because they look at Canelo like, oh, he's older, he's in decline. We want our fighter to win, but they don't have that much influence. Like Eddie Hearns don't have that much influence because, like, that's his fighter, but he's fighting under Canelo Alvarez's promotional banner, Canelo Promotions. So Canelo Promotions could dictate a lot of the stuff in the contract. So there's a lot of politics, man. Boxing is like, it's a love and hate with boxing with me. But you know what? At the end of the day, tune into Tony Oso Boxing channel. Subscribe. I thank everybody for tuning in. What's going on, my brother? Andres Torres, Tony, and Chat Familia. Yeah, what's up, Frontline? I appreciate all you guys. Frontline, subscribe to my channel. Continue supporting my channel. I tell the unadulterated truth, and you know, a lot of times, you know, people don't take it the right way. They take it like if I'm looking for an excuse for Berlanga because I was rooting for him. I don't take away nothing from Canelo. I just want the boxing to be authentic. Not you could tell it was, you know, he was holding back. Berlanga, he was holding back because he already got the bag and he already abided by the stipulations of the contract before the fight, not to go all out. Just make it look competitive enough so that way you can continue your career with one loss and move on, and Canelo could accomplish his goal. Because Canelo is in control of the promotional banner, so that's why he's able to control that. So he was smart about that because when he lost to Bivol, he wasn't fighting under his promotional banner. Not yet. He got his promotional banner, I think, afterwards. So now, if he fights somebody, like he gotta be under what he feels comfortable with. He feels that Berlanga had no experience. I'm gonna fight him, and Berlanga held back and had to agree to certain things. You know, that's boxing politics. But when he fought Bivol, Canelo wasn't fighting under his promotion. He was fighting under somebody else's promotion. So they could kind of control the stipulations and who they want to win. But in that case, it was just like the fighter wasn't going to sign any stipulations that benefited Canelo, because that's why Canelo moved away from all those the Golden Boy and all those other promoters, because they were going to control the stipulations, and they wanted him to fight competitive fights. Canelo wanted to choose the fights where he had control over everything, and that's what he finally did. He got his own promotional banner, and that's where you see the behind the scenes. You know, you got to read between the lines. Canelo has his own promotional company. He's going to control the narrative. So, of course, he's going to lose to Bivol. Bivol's more talented. He's not going to submit to any stipulation on the contract. He's just going to outbox Canelo and school him, and that's what he did. But Canelo didn't fight under his own promotion when he fought Bivol. Now, will he fight a Bivol? I don't think Bivol's going to agree to his stipulations. He's his own promotion team. Canelo, he gets 80% of what he every fight that he fights, he gets 80%, and then he gives 20% to his manager. I don't knock him for that, but I'm like, come on, like, don't buy your victories. Don't buy this. Don't buy and control how the fight has to end and what they have to do. Like, you see how the fighters always kiss up to Canelo at the end. You can tell it's like he bought them out. They got to be thankful that he got him a fight because he controls the stipulations. So whenever you go out of that narrative, he gets mad. He wants you to kiss his butt. But it's not. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. It should be genuine, where you're fighting because you want to see who's the best guy, and whoever wins, whoever has the most ability and controls the strength and attributes that they have, and they dominate it more than the other. That should be the outcome. It shouldn't be controlled by business and you have to do certain things. It takes away the fun, the true nature of the sport. Why we watch the sport? We watch the sport because we want to see who truly, authentically is the best according to their natural ability and who dominates what attributes more than the other. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see somebody controlled by money or stipulation on a contract, and that's what boxing is now. When it comes to the elite status on the top fighters fighting each other, it's all about the stipulations of the contract and who controls what more. And in this case, Canelo controlled the stipulation because he got his own promotional team, but he could dictate a lot of the stipulation because he is the promoter, the main promoter of the fight. If you have your own business, you want to have control over your money, right? I don't knock him for that, but when it comes to boxing, like, it shouldn't be about, oh, let me control the business and the promotion of the fight, so that way I can control the stipulations of what the fighter has to do before the fight and after the fight. It's so phony, it's so hypocritical, it's so fake. And I feel like boxing is becoming a circus that's not authentic the way it should be. Boxing is a sport that most people come from the bottom to try to make it. So it's going to be easy for a lot of people that come from the bottom to try to make it, to sell out for the buck, for the bag. And Berlanga did that. I know he did that. People that know fighting, people that fought, like I fought in the streets. I've survived. I've knocked people down. I'm not saying I'm the toughest guy, but I've seen advantages and disadvantages. If you have an advantage, if somebody's not hurting you, like Canelo wasn't hurting Berlanga, you're gonna try to like go for broke with him. You're gonna take chances even more because he's not hurting you. But Berlanga wasn't seriously hurt by Canelo. He may have felt his punches, but he wasn't like in jeopardy of getting knocked out. And these commentators were saying, "Oh, it should stop the fight. This should stop the fight because he's controlling the fight and he's winning." Berlanga's not winning. Berlanga was in the fight. He wasn't stunned or hurt. He was in the fight the whole time, but he held back on purpose because financially there was money involved. There's stipulations that they have to go by, especially if the boxer that's elite like Canelo is a franchise and he controls the promotional company. It's his promotional company that you're fighting under. Of course, he's gonna be like conflict of interest because he's actually controlling the event. That's his money. He's gonna protect his money. He's gonna put stipulations in the contract. That's why he was getting upset. He wants all the fighters to be nice to him because that's part of the deal. You have to be nice to me. I gave you an opportunity, but you have to do certain things. I gave you opportunity, but you have to do certain things for me, papi. That's just the way it is, man. It's business, and boxing is not the way. It's not fun anymore. Like I love boxing, but I also hate certain things, the corrupt part of it. I have a love and hate relationship with boxing, but I'm gonna keep giving you this content, give you the real content. And Puerto Rico in the house. Canelo got the victory. He bought the victory, but at the end of the day, he don't want to fight Benavidez, and Benavidez not gonna bow down to his demands. So there's a lot of stuff that we don't see in the forefront, We don't see it in the obvious, but behind the scenes, they, they're trying to make people submit to Canelo's demands. He couldn't do that when he wasn't the one promoting the boxing event. He wanted certain fighters, and then the promotional company didn't want that. They wanted him to fight certain fighters where he had to give the fans what they want and more dangerous fights. But now Canelo has his own promotional team, and this is a move that he made. And now he does whatever he wants. But doing whatever you want like that, when you control what the fighter does and what the fighter doesn't do, that's whack. That's whack to me. That's some sucker crap. That's whack. But yeah, subscribe to my channel, Tony Also. Tony Also knows boxing. Berlanga gonna move on with his career, and I got respect for Berlanga, but I just don't like that he sold out like that. But I got respect for Berlanga. As far as as a boxer, I know that he's better than what we saw, but he proved a lot of people wrong that he's not as bad as people were saying he was. He's actually way better than what people perceive him to be, and they're not Puerto Ricans are jumping on the bandwagon. That's the thing about Puerto Ricans, when you're doing good, they want to support you, the fake ones, but the real ones support you before you prove it. So they give you the benefit of the doubt because they know based on your lifestyle, your struggle, and the way you fight, they can see the integrity in you in some way, or the pure natural ability in some way, and what you survive. We can see the survivor in you without even you proving it. You proving it in small ways. We don't need to be proven wrong because we know what you're capable of. But when it comes to business, that's where the natural ability and all the other things that we have as fighters and as people, they're gonna subjugate it where it's more about money, not about your natural ability and real representation of what you can really do. It's more of a real representation for monopolies and businesses. It's about money. This is facts. A lot of people don't like to hear the truth, but Tony Also knows boxing's always gonna say the truth, and you're always gonna have your opinion, and I respect everybody's opinion, but I'm gonna keep it 100. I can tell when something's planned. That fight looked like Berlanga was just happy to get the check. He made it look competitive, but he held back. He didn't go for broke. He should have knocked Canelo down, which he could have did. But, it just seems like Canelo was running out of gas and Berlanga wasn't taking advantage of the obvious that Canelo was losing stamina. He was getting tired. And he doesn't knock people out anymore, man. He hasn't knocked out people in years. But, Berlanga just made it look competitive enough where, he followed the stipulations of the contract, what he could do and what he can't do, and then, everybody can move on. It's just the way it is. But thanks for tuning into my channel, Frontline. Andres Torres. I got nothing but love for everybody that tunes in. And regardless of your opinion, I respect everybody's opinion. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And you don't always have to agree with me. You could have your own perspective and your own way of looking at it. I'm here to just, grow with my community and just keep it honest, keep it funky, keep it authentic. Because a lot of people are afraid to say the truth because they want to be accepted by the majority. But I'm willing to just be truthful and honest and true to my fans. And regardless if they like what I say or not, just so we can keep integrity alive. That's missing in a lot of boxing content creators, put videos out. They do it more for the clickbait. I do it more for truth bait. I'm here to bait you into the truth, but not deceive you. You either take it or you leave it. It's up to you. I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm doing it authentic, natural. We're from Brooklyn. I come from the real side of Brooklyn. We keep everything funky, with integrity. And Boricuas, as a whole, we need to unite as a tribe and we need to support each other. All boxing content creators. We may not agree with everything, Latinos, whatever. It don't matter where you're from, African Americans. As long as you guys could come to a medium where we could be telling the truth, and we don't have to always agree with everybody, but we could have respect for each other where we all could come to a conclusion that there needs to be more integrity despite our differences in how we perceive things and how we go about our content creation. We all just got to respect each other and show that unity, but never sacrifice the truth just to please somebody. It shouldn't be like that. It should be about Um, Giving people the truth is so minimized right now. Nobody wants to maximize the truth. They want to minimize it, and they want to maximize their agenda for financial gain. Like everything is a clickbait to, like, even beefs. They're not real sometimes. They're just doing it just to get more views. But I thank everybody for tuning in. To my channel, Tony Also Knows Boxing. I got plenty of content that I'll be giving out. Right now, I'm gonna take a break, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And let's keep boxing truth alive and speaking facts about what's going on. And let's just give people great content that's not trying to give them a false narrative for people's financial opportunity, but give people a truthful narrative that can help you, and you can monetize from being real. You don't have to monetize by being fake. You don't have to sell people stuff that they don't need. Sell people stuff that they truly, naturally need for their mind, their body. Everything is frequencies. We all have to heal each other with our frequencies, not control each other to benefit, because then you're taking away the healing process that people need to hear with the natural truth, honesty, and what you say. Words have power. Words have frequency. So when you speak the truth, it uplifts people's DNA. Words have frequencies that can either bring your health down or elevate your health and protect your body from naturally healing, because we need those positive godly frequencies. So yeah, so I got a little bit out of the subject, but just want to let everybody know I appreciate everybody. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Tune into my channel. One love. Peace.